talking butter. The idea came from, oh no, I'm gonna use yours because I know where it came from. So Jennifer Saravallo's map the dog or map the recipe, story map. So we describe it. What is the activity? Write a little short summary of the activity. Clearly state how the activity met the student's needs. My student scored 4 out of 6 on implicit or retelling, 5 out of 21 facts. We needed to work on retelling. So this activity helped with that. Information gained from each activity. I did this activity twice. Once with the story, if you give a dog a donut. Once with the recipe on how to make cookies. This is what I noticed from the students each time. Just a page, no longer, a little paragraph about each one. We read long vowel words on cups, and my buddy was able to, read 26 words versus when he could only read 3 the first time he tried this game. Then, and information gained and what's next as a result. It could be my student did so well with this, we don't need to do it again, or based on the information I gained, I would do this one more time. I need to find another intervention on retelling. You don't need to actually write the new intervention, but you need to say, my student needs continued practice on this skill, right? Depending upon what you did. So you have 6, so how I like to think about it, next ELL modification for each activity, just write one at the bottom, even if, they're not ELL. And then you just need to include student samples and teacher created materials. So that includes like a picture. I obviously don't need the board game in a box, right? Like, so you take a picture of it. And so it's intervention, sample, intervention, sample, intervention, sample. So that way I can just flip through it and see it goes with each one. There are 12 points, 2 points each thing, 6 things, right? So that's easy to rubric grade. So you just do. One student decided she didn't put any ELL modifications. She lost 12 points. That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And I asked her about it. She's like, oh, I forgot. Okay, she missed 12 points, right? So it's just that simple. Also, so that's really important because one student only did 3 interventions total the entire semester. She just liked the 3 and she kept with them and didn't tell me that she didn't do the 6. So she lost 3 points for each one, 6 points for each thing because there were 3 interventions missing, right? And so a third of the points were gone just because she didn't do them. So make sure over the next week, because like if you don't do them, you don't do them. And the thing with the case study is, this is a requirement from the state to get your reading endorsement. This is the practicum. So I don't get to make up the rules, it's just what it is. And so when you do VIA, you're gonna submit case study part 1, part 2, and part 3. Plus your hour sheet, that gives you your reading endorsement. That's like the Walkmaster, a Keymaster for your reading endorsement. So that's really important. So you can, I kind of hope that you do start it soon, before the 28th. So that way you can kind of map it out and determine before the 21st, what are you missing? What might you need to what do you need a little more info on? And then you can do that on the 21st. If in case you don't have enough data on one of the interventions, that will be something that you get to kind of play with. The next thing, just to get you thinking, and I know we've seen it before, but just to show you again, part 3, so that's the 28th, and it's Thanksgiving. So you're just gonna send me the paper part on your system and on web courses. You're not allowed to use student names. You can use my student, my buddy, student B, whatever. So you're just going to show me, take a picture of the intervention, so that way you're not giving me a physical binder. It's due on Thanksgiving. Case study part 2. It's due by Thanksgiving. You can obviously turn it in earlier than Thanksgiving. If you have week-long ski plans with your family, turn it in the Sunday before, right? Like, whatever you want to do. Don't turn it, but it is. I know, right? Like you do. And so, I'm home for Thanksgiving. I found out yesterday we're going to go to Miami, but my aunt's like, oh, we can't. I was like, okay, fine. So we're staying home, so I don't know what we're doing for Thanksgiving yet. Apparently I'm cooking. And then, but Friday, there's a UCF USF game, so I'm totally going there. So that should be super fun on Black Friday. So I'm very excited about that. I'm going to Black Friday shop on Thursday night at home. Anyway, so in case study part 3, you can actually do all of this except for part 1. So part 1 is the evidence of success. Part 1 happens after the 21st, because after the 21st, you're going to post-assess. So you can't evidence of success until. But you could do, and that's like literally a page for each assessment. So if you did words their way and then QRI, you have a words their way page and a QRI page, and the graph side to side. You just have the graph showing and some observations and your analysis of why they grew. Number 2, just a page. What would you suggest to the classroom teacher? What's next? So here's what I did with my buddy. Here's how they're progressing. Here's where I see they might be able to get help in the classroom. If you were to pull a small group, what would you work on with that kid for the teacher? 3, that's a page. Suggestions for parents. It's kind of like your parent letter. So if you do your parent letter, just plop that bad boy right in there and call it good, right? It's the same thing. The suggestions for parents, there's a part in the parent letter that asks you, besides reading with the child daily, how could the parent support the child's learning? Be very specific. Your child loves to cook together, right? They love following recipes. Make sure you do that every night. Here's a link to a kid's cookbook. I noticed that your child loves interactive games, and so if you put simple words on little cups, engagement for days, right? So what can they do at home to help? And then a reflection. Reflection has 3 questions. 1, just a page. How has your knowledge about reading assessment and instruction changed throughout the case study? What have you learned about reading assessment and instruction? You may include your own personal evaluation through RT 3012, 4519, and 4942. Remember in 3012 when I met you not that long ago? It makes me feel so proud because I met you not that long ago and I taught you what is a CBC word, right? And we had a midterm and people didn't do so well. And it was just what's a digraph and what's a blend and what's automaticity and what's fluency. And so you kind of but now you're doing the thing, right? And so how did you grow? You did an AIP, you learned something. Or just like we talked earlier, I didn't have a lot of experiences with kids, working with kids. But now, oh my goodness, I was able to apply everything I learned from those 2 classes with an actual child. Whatever you want to say, that's just this whole thing, a page. So a paragraph for this, a paragraph for that, a paragraph for that. Number 2, what aspects of the case study would have been beneficial for ELLs? And what would you do differently if you had the opportunity to do it again? Reflection is key in teaching, always, whether it be good or bad. There's always ways to improve. And so we did a consortium for 90 people, and I was half of them left after lunch. I planned it out. I had 9 people look at the agenda. Everybody loved it. We realized we gave them freedom to walk around campus. They never came back. And so next time, if we were to do this again, we would have all the stations before lunch. They would have to come back because they would get food, right? And so that's really important. So after 21 years, I still question and wonder and try to make it better for next time. That's the part I love about teaching. It brings me joy. I can't do everything right the first time, right? And so I like to keep learning. And then the actual last thing you're gonna do is a professional log. In the back of your syllabus, there's a sign-in sheet with what did you do each time. I hope you can keep track of that. So here's the back page. And so you're gonna go back through your memory and you're gonna say, what did I do with my little buddy on the first night of clinic, on the second night of that blank paper.
Let me see.
And so, look at that. You will, fun fact, you will be able to figure it out because you have all of their work. So you just say what you did on each day with the work, right? You can take pictures, you need to stretch your thinking and memory and just fill it out. I will sign it at the end on December 5th when I look at your case study. So I'll sign all of them, and just stamp it all. I'll sign all of them. All of that plus the signed sheet gets uploaded to VIA. So the signed sheet's your actual form. Yes, I did it. Yes, I signed off on it.
So the whole case study and that sheet?
1, 2, 3, and the sheet get uploaded to VIA.
Whew.
And you can attach. You can combine them all into a file, or you can just submit 4 files to VIA. It's fine. So whatever you did for case study part 1, part 2, part 3, and then the last one. So yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking through this a little bit. What is this course revision checklist?
You don't need it. So that's for